Cannibals, tribe wars, symbolism, virtual Jesus, idiots, and the Matrix are all pretty appropriate ways to describe digital devil saga. Internet Demon Adventure was released in 2004, selling over 230,000 copies worldwide in the first year release, and was 144th best-selling game in Japan in 2005. It was met with critical praise by most gaming outlets, all while having an unforgettable cast of characters. In Devilman Tribe Wars, the story explores a dystopian future where tribes fight each other over the right to go to Nirvana, which is practically, for them at least, super heaven, with its own assets of money, power, or whatever they wanted. And this is where we start, right in the middle of a confrontation between the Embryon and the Vanguards, two tribes destined to kill each other for the right to go to Nirvana. In this fight, we take the perspective of the Embryon as they survey the land and scout out their enemies. We are introduced to our player characters, Surf, Heat, Agria, Celio, and Gale. The Embryon are there on belief that the Vanguards are going to try something, seeing as how a giant Cthulhu egg appeared in their backyard. And after a brief stint of combat filled with that early 2000s edginess that we all know and love, the Embryon order the Vanguards to take out their egg or it will be declared as an act of war and they will fight. And the Vanguard issued the same order back, which signified that nobody knew who put that egg there. But before anyone could talk about it, a giant bright light strikes the egg and explodes out COVID-666, which instead of a dry cough, you get demon superpowers and an intense craving for human flesh, as seen by what happens next in the cutscene. But after that brief stint of cannibalism, the gang passes out, having no recollection of the events that followed after the giant sky egg opened. Kind of like me after Thanksgiving, but, you know, a lot less human flesh and a lot more deviled eggs. The newly created demons awaken once more to see the mess that they created on the crater, and make their way to find a totally naked girl covered in ethereal glow at the bottom of the crater with black hair, which apparently has never been seen in the junkyard. Needless to say, this girl is important as hell. And with the girl in hand, the gang returns to the Embryon Brace, where you get your first taste of Choji Megaro's baller composing. My words can't really describe his composing, or give it enough justice even, so here's just a little clip of the Embryon theme. After returning to base, Surf, Agria, Heat, Celio, and Gale all come together to try to put an answer to what really happened in the crater, seeing as how none of them really remember anything past the part of the egg opening up. And it comes to the conclusion that they have to go to the Vanguard base to discuss with the Vanguard leader, Harley, about what happened inside the crater. Surf, Agria, and Heat go to get answers from the Vanguard boss, while Celio and Gale stay behind to look over the black-haired girl. As they checked out the base, it seemed weirdly empty. There weren't any guards at the gates, and their base itself was like a ghost town, so they just let themselves in. Surf and the gang explored further into the base and found that even the inside of the base was empty. They eventually made their way into a room where terrified Harley and a couple Vanguard soldiers were waiting for them to show up. Which leads to the game's second cutscene, where Harley explains to them what happens in a very jumbled and terrified way. And basically says what we already saw. The group turned into monsters, killed a lot of people, mostly Vanguards, and then they all passed out. Apparently Harley was conscious for a majority of this though, and saw a lot of his men get eaten alive by Surf, Agria, and Heat, which terrified the ever-loving god out of him. Which honestly, same. I mean, imagine seeing like your best friend getting eaten alive by some dudes you just want to kill so you can go to super heaven. And after that jumbled explanation, Harley runs away, and all three of his, soldiers turn into demons themselves. And following that lead, Heat, Agria, and Surf instinctively go into demon mode. And that triggers our first battle, where we get another taste of Shoji Meguro's fine music in the battle theme. From then onwards, the Vanguard base is a pretty straightforward dungeon with some pretty dang easy puzzles. The only piece of advice I can give you is to get at least all your characters to level 10 before fighting Harley, and to have at least one dedicated move slot to the skill Void Fire. Harley's demon form has only one move that can do massive damage if you're not prepared, but it's also a fire move. So really, if you use Void Fire at the end of every turn, this first boss will be a cakewalk. After having this revelation dropped on their head that they can turn to demons, the story takes an extreme turn from the worst from here on. Characters die, there are a lot of things going on, a lot at the same time, a lot of moving parts, a lot of cool things happen too. And I can't get into those because I want you to play the game. This video is only an introduction to the Digital Devil Saga duology, and because of that, I don't want to spoil anything other than the first dungeon of the game, which is practically just the tutorial of the game. Honestly, Digital Devil Saga is one of my favorite games of all time, and I've played and listened to the music of it on more times than I can count, and it's generally gotten me through a lot of sad times. I feel sad, I play Digital Devil Saga. I feel mad, I play Digital Devil Saga. I feel nothing, I play Digital Devil Saga. And the story, no matter how many times I replay it, always feels fresh. Listening to these characters and going through their backgrounds and just everything else is so good in this game series. I really recommend that you play Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2. And on the Caleb chord, I think I'll give this game a masterpiece rating. 2 out of 10. Would never play it in my entire life. This game totally sucks.